What's going on YouTube? Natepushweights here. Official specs for the Call of Duty Cold War PC specifications have dropped. The hardware, the CPU, the GPU, all that good stuff. For those PC players out there, recommended specs, minimum specs, recommended ray tracing specs, competitive specs, ultra RTX specs. This is the whole full list of what you need for your PC to have to run this game. Not only run this game, but also, play it in high settings, ultra settings, low settings, whatever. Here we go. Let's get right into it. All right, so first off, this game had a beta. The beta graphics were kind of trash. I'm not going to hold you. Now, this is the full game settings that you need pretty much for your PC. Like I said again, the CPU, GPU, everything. Starting with minimum specs, okay? In order to play Call of Duty Cold War, your PC must have, obviously, Windows 7 or Windows 10, 64-bit, okay? For those that you don't know, 64-bit basically means, they're differing from a 32-bit and a 64-bit. 32 is kind of like a smaller PC with not as much qualifications as a 64-bit. Usually you're going to see a 64-bit. So 64-bit or higher, Windows 10 or Windows 7. Now, as far as CPU goes, you have to have an Intel Core i3 4340 or a AMD FX 6300. Now, meaning that is the minimum spec right there. That's the minimum spec you need to have, an i3 4340. Next is the RAM, 8 gigabytes of RAM. We all know that. It's pretty standard. And now your hard drive, you must have for multiplayer at least 50 gigabytes of hard drive space. I guess they're gonna tally off of the game modes. They're gonna separate them to where you only have to install like the campaign or the zombies mode. You get it. So 50 gigabytes for multiplayer and 175 gigabytes total for the full game for all game modes. There you go. For video, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 670 at minimum. Also a GTX 650 or Radeon HD 7950. So that's the minimum spec right there. Now the recommended specs, here we go. Specs to run at least 60 FPS in most situations with options to set to medium. Here we go. Windows 10, 64-bit, of course. The latest update. Intel Core i5 2500K has to be your CPU. The recommended. This is the recommended. And also an AMD Ryzen R5 1600X processor. Okay, that's the minimum. I mean, that's the recommended. Sorry, that's the recommended right there. 12 gigabytes of RAM, of course. The hard drive must be 175 gigabytes, of course. And the same thing for the GPU, pretty much. You need a GTX 970 or a GTX 1660 Super or Radeon R9 390. Radeon R9 390. Sorry, I get that mixed up. AMD RX 580. There you go. Now the recommended specs for ray tracing. Okay. Now this is stepping into the high-end builds here. Windows 10, 64-bit, of course. Intel i7 8700K CPU or the AMD Ryzen 1800X CPU. Whether you're going with AMD or Intel, you must have these CPUs at least. Nothing minimum. 8700K and up pretty much. Okay? There you go. Next is the 16 gigabytes of RAM. Pretty standard. 175 gigabytes of hard drive. And also, in order to have ray tracing, you need a 3070 series card. Nothing minimum. Nothing minimum, it looks like. In order to have ray tracing in Cold War, you have to have a 30 series card. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. So you're not going to be able to get you're not really going to have smooth ray tracing. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get ray tracing with a 20 series card, RTX, but it's probably not going to look good. As you see, they recommend a 30 series card. So, that's kind of a bummer, right? You can't even get a 30 series card pretty much. But on to the competitive settings. These are competitive settings, specs to run at high FPS for use with a high refresh rate monitor, of course. Windows 10, obviously. And then the CPU 8700K or a 1800X for AMD. 16 gigabytes of RAM, 175 gigabytes of hard drive storage. And also for your video card, you need at least a 1080 GPU and a RTX 3070 or Radeon RX Vega 64 graphics card. It's pretty standard. I mean, pretty much anything 1080 and above, it's gonna be pretty competitive, so you'll be good to go. Now our Ultra RTX settings right here. Okay, this is if you want to go 4K, if you want to go ultra wide, 34 by 40, 1440p, whatever. This is the real specs. If you really want the full capability of this game, graphics wise, this is what you do. This is what you need. Ultra settings, Ultra RTX specs to run the game at high FPS and 4K resolution with ray tracing. Windows 10 64, of course. Intel i9 9900K or AMD Ryzen 3700X, the top tier 9th gen CPUs right here. Whew. 16 gigabytes of RAM, 250 gigabytes of HD space, hard drive storage. You need 250 gigabytes. I'll say that again, 250 gigabytes. Now for the video GPU specs, they're saying you need NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080 to run ultra settings at high FPS for 4K. My guess is high FPS, maybe 100 FPS for 4K. I don't see this game getting 120 FPS. I just at ultra settings. I don't know. With ray tracing, you know. But yeah, you need a 3080 series card if you want to run Ultra RTX with ray tracing, of course, at 4K, high FPS. Yeah, that's the loadout right there. For me personally, I can run at Ultra RTX if I had a 3080 card, but I don't. Obviously, they're super hard to get. Where can you get one? You got to sell like a left nut just to get a 3080 series card. So yeah, it's kind of hard to get one. Unfortunately, I won't be running RTX. I'll probably just be running ultra settings. I noticed in the beta was kind of trash, honestly, because the graphics did not look up to standard. I hope they change it in the new game, the actual game that comes out on the 11th or the 13th, I believe. I'm excited for this game. Hope you guys are as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Let me know what specifications you guys are going to run for your PC, if you do have PC, or if you have Xbox, the Series X, or the PlayStation 5. Let me know in the comment section. That's it for the video, of course. Hit that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Also, if you guys want to go watch some of the streams that we stream on Twitch, feel free. Twitch.tv/Natepushweights. We stream over there every single day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.